She's an actress, singer and model who's asking us to be unapologetically proud of who we are. Susan Matesi joins us now, and welcome to Studio 10, Susan. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We are not too bad. Now, you emigrated to Australia from Uganda.
Yes.
What was it like growing up here?
To be honest, at first it was quite overwhelming. It was quite different culture-wise. Especially as a young person in school, it was quite challenging. Facing a little bit of challenges in regards to differences. Like in Africa, we only have struggles in regards to tribalism, where other tribes don't like tribes. So for me, racism was the first time I experienced that when I came to Australia. I never knew anything about racism until I came here, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe my skin color has an issue, but yeah, it was quite challenging. Like, for example, I remember there's a moment in my drama class, my teacher was like, you know, like he was talking about like Black culture and things like that, and he would mention things like the N-word in front of all the students.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to deal with that. I remember that day I crawled in the corner and I started crying. So he came to me and he's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't know if this is normal, like a normal thing, you know, that's done in the Western culture. If we're allowed to do things like this, I don't know, but I don't think it's right, but I would love to tell my principal about it. And the teacher started crying and he's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. And I'm like, but you can't do those things without being culturally sensitive about what other people are going through, or being culturally aware or knowledgeable about, you know, what's happening. So I've never forgotten that story, and there's so many others, but you know, at the end of the day, Australia is home and I still love it, and with its quirks and, you know, ups and downs, it's home.
What about before you moved to Australia, what did you know about Australia and the culture that we have here? You know, what did you know and then were surprised by when you arrived?
When I thought of Australia, I thought of a dream. I'm like, oh my gosh, like for me that was a dream. This is like, God, it felt like, you know, like, oh my gosh, like this is God. This is a country that's full of spirit, freedom, and culture and beauty and hope. Yeah, it was hope. It was hope, definitely, for me. I saw opportunities. I saw what Australia would give me and would enable me to become as a Black young girl. I saw myself belonging. I saw myself being welcomed, and that's how I saw Australia. And I remember my first time on the plane, I would hear that song, "Oh, call Australia home." You know, that
iconic.
Oh, I was just like, this is home. This is going to be home, and I'm going to make sure I make this place my home and belong.
Hey, listening to you tell that story of speaking to the teacher and speaking up to the teacher, that was such a confident move on your behalf. Yeah. You must have had a really powerful inner strength to be able to speak to the teacher and explain what had happened and how that made you felt. You've now written this book called Unapologetically Black, Afro-sisters.
Yes.
And you mentioned in the book that you hid away some quirks and beauty spots because of a lack of confidence. So how did you push through those to assert your confidence?
So I'll first explain about my book. My book, Unapologetically Black, is a candid narrative that shows the struggles young people, boys and girls, go through in a predominant westernized culture that's very different to their culture. But this, in context, this book was specifically a book I wrote to the young me when I was young, when I first went to high school in Australia. And so people beat me with words. So the words, the negative words that people beat me with, and also the words that I told myself made me feel insecure. So how did I push through that? It was a process, to be honest. It was a process of me believing that I am better, it was kind of like believing that I can do better, believing that there is more in me than what's outside. It was also overcoming my fears, insecurities, and believing that there's got to be something more in Australia. There's got to be something more that I'm here for. There's got to be something why I'm still here. And overcoming the bullies, overcoming the negative words, taking authority. It's always a process, but you take authority over those words.
Yeah. Susan, you said that you wrote this book to your younger self.
Yeah.
But what advice would you give if you just had like one example that you could give to a young woman in a similar position to what you were once in, arriving in Australia as a young person, learning language, learning culture, everything else? What would be that piece of advice?
I would tell every young girl that's listening, or anyone of all kinds of races, the power is in your hands. The opportunity is not on anyone that's either famous or has more than you. The opportunity and the power is in your hands. The first step to changing is believing that you can and understanding that you create your own reality. And that starts with believing in yourself, overcoming the fears and insecurities. Once you know you have all those insecurities and fears, you have to overcome it. I'll tell you, look yourself in the mirror and face yourself, face the insecurities, the doubts, the negative words that people have told you. And first of all, forgive people that have done wrong things, like the bullies, the anything that's been done to you, any racism, anything that's been done to you. Because forgiveness is for yourself, not for the other individual. It's for yourself to move forward and realize that you've been given an opportunity to live in a land that's rich and beautiful, and you can create those opportunities for yourself. So believe in yourself. You're brilliant, you're loved, you're intelligent. Don't believe what social media says about you. Don't believe the anxiety, the negativity, the worry, the things that people say that you're not enough or you're not beautiful enough. I want to tell you, you are beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I haven't heard that today, and that has literally lifted my spirits.
Just beautiful. Susan's new book, Unapologetically Black, Afro-sisters, is out now. Thank you so much for joining us today.
And you can find it on Kindle and Amazon. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Susan.
Good on you, Susan.
Thank you.